Hi. So I promised a long-form video on negotiation, and here it is. In an ideal world, you'll have seen the short consent video before this video, and you'll see the short negotiation video after both of those. Like the rest of hypnosis, negotiation is about using communication, making discoveries, and finding common ground with your partner. In fact, it's wild how much doing negotiation looks like every other part of the hypnotic practice. Negotiation is a conversation, and its goal is to arrive at a plan for our play together. And if our negotiation is successful, and if our play is good, and if we decide our first play session is going to be the first of many sessions, then future negotiations are where our plans for future play evolve over time. Before I give you a little list of sample negotiation points to explore with your partner, I need you hypnotists and subjects to hear this loud and clear. Ideally, we each feel equally empowered to participate fully in this discussion. Ideally, we both understand, should we choose to explore a dom-sub dynamic in our play, that a submissive subject's assertiveness right now will make the dynamic safer, richer, and sexier. And even if you're not planning to do anything in the dom-sub sandbox, this is the time to communicate all your hopes, dreams, and desires as clearly, explicitly, and directly as possible. Your future satisfaction honestly depends on it. I know it's sometimes hard to say what you want. Here's the thing, though. You gotta say what you want. The rest of the video is going to be about what you should talk about during periods of negotiation and how you should talk about that stuff. So here are some sample topics I'd want to talk about during negotiation with a first-time play partner. It can't be a complete list. We're incredibly complicated and interesting people, so no list could be complete. But this is a start. What are our relevant likes and dislikes? What are we curious to try? What have we fantasized about? What don't we want to do? Are there any aspects about what we might do that worries one of us? What are our experience levels? Do we have any mental or physical limitations that might affect the results we're hoping to have? What are those limitations? If we have other partners, are there any rules related to those relationships we should talk about before we play? How much time should we allow for our first session? How long have we been interested in whatever it is we intend to do? Are we curious to learn more about those activities? How would we like communication to work for us while we're playing? How do we like to let each other know when we need a break or to stop playing altogether? What happens after we're done playing? Will there be aftercare? Do you have any other questions for me? As we work our way through our list, we're ideally going to find common ground. And the common ground we find will be the basis for us to add things to our plan for play. As we add each new thing to the plan, it's important to get explicit consent from both of us. Because consent is meaningless without sufficient information, during negotiation, clarity is important. When we're just getting to know each other, let's dig deep. Make sure all the important terms we're using, terms like hypnosis, bondage, sex, dominance, submission, aftercare, and so on, mean the same thing to both of us. Or at least, let's make sure each of us knows what the other means when they say those words. For instance, if you say you'd rather not have sex during our sessions, I'd want to get clarity, because hypnosis is sex to me. Bondage is sex to me. Maybe the only thing you count as sex is oral and anal. Your model for the word sex might be very different from mine. And that's fine. But we need to be sure we are functionally compatible in that area before we add any of it to our plan. Before saying a final yes to anything, make sure you and your partner are speaking the same language. It's possible to feel as though you're meeting your partner exactly where they're at, and yet not actually meet them there at all, because you describe the world and your kink and your sexuality in very different ways. This incredibly deep subject gets a lot of attention in the field of hypnosis. We'll get back to it in future videos. During negotiation, transparency and direct communication are key. The more honest we both are during this stage of the initial negotiation, the more likely we are to arrive at sustainable, attainable plans for our play together. Be honest about your interests. Don't reinvent your interest profile to match the hot person sitting across from you. That kind of reinvention almost never is sustainable. If you're not sure if you're interested in something your partner mentions during negotiation, but you feel you might be open to it, express your interest clearly as curiosity rather than as something you've given a lot of thought or research to. That way, if you try it and hate it, you tried it with the mutual understanding this was just an experiment. No harm done if your yes turns into a no. In the same way, don't hide your priority interests just because they're not shared by your potential new partner. Accept the no as a rejection of the interest, not of you. Expressing your interest in something your partner doesn't like the sound of gives your partner the opportunity to think about the thing on their own terms and in their own time, while the two of you are busy doing stuff you both like instead. For now, accept it as the last word on the subject while tacitly acknowledging people evolve. Neither of you know what you'll be into next week, let alone next year or in 5 years. We change our minds all the time. Be honest about your experience level. It's okay to be new, and lying about your experience never gives a good result. It's really smart to use this opportunity to admit you're inexperienced and fully open to learning if you are open to learning. New hypnotists, I don't know a single subject who wouldn't be delighted in being a sort of test subject for somebody who is truly engaged and committed to learning how to be a good hypnotist. And anybody who wouldn't be interested in that kind of shared developmental journey probably isn't somebody I'd be interested in playing with anyway. And a subject's real experience level is always helpful information for their future hypnotist. That information is actual gold for a hypnotist. Don't be ashamed of being new. And if you're much more experienced than your new hypnotist, please understand that your experience will be a resource for them. Doubling back to the idea of informed consent for a moment. Hypnotists and dominants, if your partner is very new to the stuff you want to do with them, you may have to give them a little tutorial on whatever it is you're proposing. It's not only okay to take the time to do that, it's probably unethical not to take the time to do that. Because somebody can't give meaningful consent to something they don't have at least a summary understanding of. I mean, worst come to worst, you could share my hypnosis video series with them, right? They're super short. So let's think about yes and no some more and how they apply to negotiation. Celebrate both the yeses and the nos. Filtering out inappropriate partners is a key function of successful negotiation practice. We can say this filtering function is rapport building because it helps you choose the right partner. Don't play with someone you have nothing in common with, and be grateful when you discover it early in the game. Be patient and find the right partner. If you and your partner find you share many more yeses than nos, keep talking. There's something real there, and you're building rapport. You're doing successful hypnosis.